All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Up and In Show. I am here on the purple couch at Cards and Culture in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm with my guy, Joe Mitchell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, dude. And I'm going to give you a little love right here. So if you guys are listening, subscribing, if you guys follow us on social media, anything, this man right here is a magic man. This man has done a really great job. He's grown over the time that I've known him. And he's the one that's doing all the post-production for the podcast, for all the clips, the storytelling, all the stuff that you guys are seeing. If you guys are new to this channel, it's probably because Joe brought you guys here and made some cool content for it. So I want to show you a little love and thank you, dude, because I think you're, publicly on air out there, because I think you're doing a great job. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun to watch your journey and all this and everything. And it's just fun for me because, right, when I played baseball, it was like, how do I learn how to be better and grow and do all that shit? And I think you have that athletic background too, but it's fun because I apply it to business, and I think you're doing the same thing. So it's fun to watch your growth, and I'm excited to see the things that come out of this too, and the things that we got developing too.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, that's definitely that's for another day. We would have a whole other episode where we talk for 3 hours on that, but good things are coming. Thank you guys for being here. But we are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so we thought a cool episode today to talk about, especially with the MLB draft 2 days ago, and Paul Skeens going number 1, Dylan Cruz going number 2, and setting a record that's never been done before in the MLB draft. I don't even know if it's been done in any drafts. But we thought it would be cool to sit down and talk about and have some perspective about the athletes that are coming through Baton Rouge, Louisiana right now, and LSU specifically. And I think some of the numbers and the things that you were pulling up were fucking crazy.
It's truly wild.
And like, we kind of knew it, but then even when you were just doing the research now and like looking up things, it's like, it's just even more eye-opening.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that. I was having this realization even before the draft. I wanted to put out this post, but I'm glad I waited till the draft was over and we're doing it this way. But I was going to make this Twitter thread, and I was like, just like brainstorming on some of the names. And I was thinking about it from a perspective that I have a collectible shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I started in 2019, 2020, but we opened up and came here in July of 21. And that was after we had the best college football team ever, with probably the greatest, some of the greatest college football players ever, right? And then we win a national. We have an influx of all these new coaches, and then some of the major sports are winning national championships. But then some of the players on these teams are just so iconic and crazy. So I'm like, man, this is crazy that I have this opportunity to sell collectibles and share sports stories and content and experiences here in Baton Rouge. So it's fucking nuts.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like you were saying, the timing is insane. Like, obviously we were established in 2020,
right,
but the idea for this was 2018, 2019, right?
Yep.
And then just immediately for all the chips to fall into place it's
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you think about it too, people are always like, oh, how did you like, you knew you wanted a collectible shop? I'm like, not really. It was, I had this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew I had access to cool people doing big things in the world, and how do we tell that story? And then it's like a lot of that organically becomes LSU football, baseball, basketball, gymnastics, volleyball, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, I feel so lucky. Like I genuinely feel lucky. Like, it's nuts, but it also been planned but this is the kind of stuff that like has to fall into place for you to have success too. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool to see that happening. What do you think was the most eye-opening thing when you looked at that list and like read some of them? Yeah, pull it up. Yeah. I'm curious to see, or pull it out, because I already know the one in my head that you said that I was just like, what the fuck?
So this entire list is wild. So like we said, like the idea for, Cards and Culture and to have this collectible shop in Baton Rouge, it was 2018, 2019. Yeah. So I started in 2019, this list at least. So let's just imagine you're a college freshman arriving to campus in fall, right? So you get there in fall of 2019, you just graduated in May. If that's you would have witnessed 4 team national championships. That's football, men's outdoor track, women's basketball, and baseball. So you see 4
crazy.
of those. Now, some sports, they have a team championship, but track, gymnastics, that kind of stuff, swimming, they all have more so individual championships.
Right.
Well, in those 4 years, you would have witnessed 28 individual national championships.
28 individual national. That for 4-year school, you're watching 7 national champions on average.
A year.
A year.
Now, That's just national championships. If you look at SEC championships, so team championships in the SEC, we had 5. That's men's basketball, football, women's golf, men's outdoor track, and gymnastics.
Men's basketball in there, huh? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Men's basketball won it in 2019. It was
Nice.
Will Wade's second year.
I was going to say,
Yeah. And then you have, again, just SEC championships for those individual sports, 71 of those in those 4 years.
71.
Yeah. You go back to the 2020 Olympics.
That's crazy to me. That was one of the ones, that's not the craziest, but like this stat is crazy.
So you go back to the 2020 Olympics. LSU had 24 alumni represented.
24 LSU people represented in the Olympics. That's nuts.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
I think this is the one you think is the wildest. In 2022, Mondo Duplantis, track and field athlete at LSU, is named World Athlete of the Year.
World Athlete of the Year.
That's wild.
And he was in our backyard here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah. And then on top of that, just, stepping away from all the championships and trophies and all that kind of stuff, if you just look at the athletes that we currently have on campus and their, influence in the world outside of sports.
Marketability, all this, yeah.
I mean, so what I did is I looked at LSU athletes who currently have over 100,000 followers on Instagram alone. Mm-hmm. That would give you Angel Reese with 2.2 million followers.
With an M.
Flau'jae Johnson, 1.5 million followers. You go Haley Van Lith, 855,000. Olivia Dunn, 4.2 million followers, who also was featured in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazine. You have Alina Arenas, that's 151,000 followers, and Dylan Cruz, 126,000 followers. So 3 different sports represented with athletes with 100,000 or more followers on Instagram alone.
Instagram.
That's the kind of influence that LSU and the athletes have.
Right. And I know on TikTok it's crazy because like there's that punter or special teams dude that like
Slade Roy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's crazy to think just the influence and the attention and the amount of people, NIL, like it's like I don't know. And I do got to tip my cap to LSU. Mm-hmm. I really do think that obviously like it recruits itself, but the administration, the athletic office has done their due diligence to be like we're going to be the best NIL school, and I think there's no coincidence that they're attracting the right athletes here. You know? It's crazy. Like that's just to think of like the millions of followers that you have. I'm just gonna like do a quick I played baseball, so it's like I'm trying to think. Clayton Kershaw, like that's Hall of Fame, probably one of the best, but I guarantee you his 557K. Been in the league for 20 years, plays in LA.
Yeah.
557K. He's the best, one of the best, probably the best, like most accoladed pitcher of all time that's active right now.
Yeah. And we have LSU athletes with millions.
2.2. Like that's nuts. And even Dylan Cruz, like to get 100 and something thousand before you step foot on a professional field is crazy.
And also, this is what I think is very interesting because all of these athletes that we mentioned are elite. They're all elite athletes in their field. But they're also so good at their sport and at marketing and all that kind of stuff. Like for example, Angel Reese, she's marketed herself amazingly. Mm-hmm. Flau'jae, she's signed to Rock Nation. She's freestyling on Sway in the morning. Yep. Olivia Dunn, huge on TikTok. What's different about Dylan Cruz to me is he doesn't really talk.
I know.
Like that's wild to me.
Even Skeens, right? When he came on the podcast in 5th week of the season, he had 3,000 followers, I believe. We looked at it, but it was he literally said, I don't go on social media during the season. And we looked the other day, 89,000 or whatever it is, right? Like I'm like, this man doesn't post. He said he doesn't go on Instagram and he got 90,000 followers in a year. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, that's crazy. It's just that much attention. People want LSU is just putting out a good product right now. It's absolutely fascinating.
Well, and you say right now, but it's nothing new. I think what's happening is social media is just enhancing it and bringing more awareness to it. Like
that's a great point.
People are saying, LSU's on fire right now. They're bringing in the craziest transfers and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just because those athletes have more awareness as to what LSU is.
Yes, that's a great point.
So, and to prove that point, I went back and I looked at everybody you played with at LSU. Mm-hmm. So I looked at from 2008 to 2010, the LSU baseball team. Do you have any idea of how many of those players played in a major league organization, whether it was low A, high A, the bigs?
From 2008 to 2010?
And how many teammates do you think you would have had? I don't know this answer, but just
So 35 a year. So maybe, so 35,
But a lot of those
70.
carried over.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say maybe 100 over 3 years, maybe
Okay.
something like that, because some of them carried over probably. Maybe 75. Let's
Yeah,
say
looking at the
75.
roster, I don't think it was that many,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let's say
You're
75.
right. Yeah, probably not. And how many played professional baseball? I say of those guys, 25.
27.
Nice.
So 27 of the guys you played with in a program for 3 years all went on to play professionally at some level in a Major League Baseball organization.
Yeah, a third of them.
And a lot of these guys, a lot of, I think it's specifically or strictly because there was no social media at that time.
Yeah.
There was no engagement or awareness around that. And had there been, I don't know if it would have been any different then.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because, and I think that obviously some of the rules with the transfer portal and things like that, like changed it, but it's a really interesting perspective to have on that and saying like Tommy White knows what to expect at LSU now. I didn't know what the fuck to expect other than to try to win championships, and I had to go on my recruiting visit to feel it and see it and
You
do
came
whatever.
here because it was hot.
Yeah, exactly, like legit. I'm like, damn, this is nice. And like, but I didn't see the fans in the crowd and shit until I got here and they were showing me videos and pictures and shit like that. Think about how crazy that is.
Yeah.
And I got recruited when I got down. The official visits don't fucking matter anymore. Like official visits are done.
Yeah.
Or is it changed too?
To some extent they don't, but I think in this new NIL world, they're starting to matter more again.
Okay.
Like you're seeing schools, and just specifically in college football, it's
Yeah.
what I know
Yeah,
the best. But I know in college football, like the teams that are recruiting the best out of high school, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, what the players say is there's something different about the experience of Texas. And so what that means is you're getting called, you're getting all that, but the only time they experience the campus is on their official.
Yep. That's so smart.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. And it's a branding and marketing thing. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
the experience. The experience, you got to come try it to feel it out. So and got to get them on their campus. That's interesting. No, you're right. And it's just like anything else too, right? Like the recruiting will just change the looks of it. And that's where I was immediately thinking, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Now it's like kids want to go to LSU because they want to take that video doing the spin thing, you know what I'm saying? And putting the jersey on. And so, yeah, it's just changed. You're right. It's the way that they express the attention.
And some of the artists they listen to on Spotify are posting LSU on their story and name dropping.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
it's crazy.
Yep. And it just gives you like a level of credibility probably too as a recruit to be like, yeah, I went on these 4 visits. Really, I knew I was going to this school the whole time, but it helped me get a better scholarship or more NIL money or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the times have changed, dude. That's crazy. But yeah, back to the LSU athletes. It is really a special time right now, and I do feel really lucky to be a part of it. And like I said, this is why we're doing all the media stuff. I'm investing in talent like yourself, and we're recruiting people, and just hired Abby Alonso, and because there is too much good shit here not to tell, and not to spread out there to the world. And I think that's what we've seen in our content too, right? Even my podcast has grown this year because we've shared LSU stories. We've connected with athletes and things like that. So it's like, it's cool to, and the kid from New Jersey too, it gives me a lot of pride to be like, I'm showing what I'm doing every day down here and like why I love it so much and why I made this decision, that kind of stuff too. So it's cool.
And so I guess a question I have for you is like, I'm somebody who was born in Baton Rouge, grew up here. I've lived here my entire life outside of like, some smaller parishes outside, but I've always been close to Baton Rouge. So for you, growing up in Jackson, New Jersey, and then coming here because you had a great, experience with your recruiter and all that kind of stuff, what does it mean to like be adopted into that? Like, because for me, it's just normal.
Yeah, I feel lucky. Like I genuinely feel lucky. I'm like, I made the right decision. I made, and at 17 years old, when I had 400,000 in front of me and my family had never seen 400, my dad probably made that in his life, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like, how do you're banking on coming down here and trusting the people that sold this dream to you, and the 3 days that I was here, like I'm hoping that I embody this into an experience, right? So I feel lucky that it played out exactly the way that it did. And even though my major league career didn't go the way that I wanted it to, and people said it was going to go, like, this is why I came to LSU. So I could come back for this reason, like to do this kind of stuff, to meet individuals like yourself. And to me, I missed that sports culture in New Jersey. It was Yankees and basketball. That was it, right? For me. And so like, I didn't have that love for something except for the Yankees, but it felt kind of distant because it was New York. It was far, right? And an hour away, but like, I don't know. I love being in Baton Rouge. I love it here. And I feel blessed that I was fortunate enough to be a champion here and to have that respect and acknowledgement and love from people. I think that's the thing that I think I realized too when I played professional baseball was like, yeah, I'm at the highest level. Now, granted, I didn't win a World Series, so like I don't know what it feels like to do that in that city, but still, like it just wasn't the same that it is here, even for regular games, everything, the way they care about things.
Mhm.
So I feel lucky, and that's why I think I choose to live here. It's why I choose to do business here, why I choose to invest in the economy, and even bring an F-45 here. I genuinely felt like this is me giving back. Like I genuinely felt F-45 was a great product. It would help people. It would be a healthy lifestyle. And it would be like, I learned a little something through this sports stuff. Let me introduce it to you guys the same way you guys introduced love, family, culture, sports to me. Right.
Mhm.
And so it's like, I feel like I have this like symbiotic relationship almost with Baton Rouge where I have this like crazy love. And I feel like people from the North are just like, what the fuck? Why are you like in Louisiana? I'm like, I fucking love it here. You just don't know. You don't get it. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think you're truly blessed too to have that experience and have this culture here and that kind of stuff too. It's a really unique place. It is. It's really cool to live here, I think.
Yeah.
I think just growing up here, having a family here, and you're probably going to raise a family here. It'll be probably a great experience for you and your kids and all that stuff too. So
Yeah.
lucky to be a part of it. And hopefully we'll do some cool shit with cards and culture, your kids and everything. We'll have some cool experiences and stuff. And that's really why I do it too, right? Like just even saying that sentence right there just excited me to think like, holy shit, 5-10 years from now, you might be married and having kids and like we're taking them on the field, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
cool
yeah.
shit. They're meeting fucking cool people in our shop and stuff like that. And to me, that's what you do it for, is like that kind of stuff. And I don't know. So I feel lucky. I feel blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's cool too is obviously you having played, you know a lot, or at least some of the athletes. Let's say you know far more athletes than the rest of the public. But you have a little more insight into their character and their personalities and that kind of stuff. And so you talked about bringing F-45 to Baton Rouge to like kind of give back here. But I feel like one of the cooler things you do is you give back to the athletes by actually sharing their personalities to the world.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just see
Yeah.
athletes as athletes, like,
Right.
oh, he missed a free throw he missed the tying free
Yeah.
throw, like he sucks.
Yeah.
And that's not reality. And what's funny is, you can watch Paul Skeens all year dominate and dominate and dominate, and you can watch Cade Beloso hit the home run in Omaha, but you don't know anything about these guys until you see how close they are because he, revealed his personality on your podcast.
Yeah.
And now the world can see that, and they know something about Cade and something about Paul that they didn't before. And I think that is one of the coolest things.
Damn, dude, I appreciate that. It's probably why organically our relationship has come to this point, right? Is that was always my vision. Like
Yeah.
I felt too, like my story is, again, right? I walk down the street, I'm 6'7", 240, tattoos. People can make a lot of assumptions about that. But I've had a lot of things in my head. I've had a lot of journeys and experiences and things to be like, all right, I know what you guys think and like most of the time about me, but that's probably most of the time in my head is not what's going on,
Yeah.
you know? So that was the part where I was like, how do and I know I'm not the only athlete that does that because I was behind closed doors. I seen this shit. I fucking felt it. I witnessed it, you know? So I'm like, I know I'm not the only motherfucker that goes through this. And I think there was a unique change in the world of like, emotional intelligence and awareness about those things. And so I kind of just leaned into it. And that was always kind of my vision with Up and In. It's like, you can talk sports, you can turn the TV on, you can break down shit. There's going to be a million analysts, you know what I'm saying, for forever. But how do we get to know the athletes? How do we, and to me, I guess too, the documentation of things, that's what I told you is really cool for me. I think 30, 40, 50 years from now, which is crazy to say, but 50 years from now, YouTube is probably still going to be around. And for my kids, hopefully Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens and all these guys and everybody that I interview, like go on and do these great things and accomplish the things that they're supposed to accomplish. And it would be cool for my kids to be like, damn, Grandpa fucking interviewed those guys. They were sitting with them, like in their mindset of when they were at LSU and all that stuff, right? So it's just like the historical stuff of it, but also like you said, like challenging athletes to open up in different ways and then give the consumers a different view of them. And that was always kind of the MO with my podcast. So I appreciate you being able to pick up on that and appreciating it too. And that's again why we're probably sitting here and we've developed this business relationship, friendship, all these different things too. So I appreciate that. That was good. I like that. Makes me feel good about the work that we're doing.
I love the work that we're doing personally. So
Well, that makes me happy. That's again why I started Curtains and Culture, right? Like I love showing up every day. I get to do fucking cool shit, and I get to work with people that love their jobs. So that makes me happy too. Like I genuinely feel like we're doing good work. We're giving people things that they don't have access to and stuff. So we're building a really cool thing here. And like I said, we're very fortunate that we have LSU and the athletes and those kinds of stuff, but I think we do have the right group of people to like go tell the stories and put it out there and not miss the things that I think, sometimes fall through the cracks, like having fucking 20 something Olympians at the 2020 Olympics, so, and little things like Taryn and Kristen and working with them, Aaliyah, telling their stories and stuff. I think that kind of stuff is really cool.
Yeah. And then even just outside of being an, LSU fan, supporter, whatever you want to call it, and just hoping for their success, owning a collectibles shop, it's like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Clyde, Terrace Marshall, Justin Jefferson, like they can't stay on the shelf.
It's cheat codes. Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's when I'm like, damn, the reason I thought about it is because like, I'm like Skeens, Cruz, next fall with Angel and Floje, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we can do anything. Like we can sell anything here. Like, and that's where I was like, wow, I'm just lucky. I just got lucky and that I can have a shop. But I think, like I said, luck happens the way that it's supposed to. And we've been storytelling about this shit for a while. So it's like, now we just have products to sell to people and create the fan experience that, I think everybody here in Baton Rouge loves and is the sports culture, and entertainment culture really, because sports is what we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, this was a fun episode. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to do this more. For real. Like, I just genuinely, like, we should mix this in at least once or twice a month. Just, like, sitting and shooting the shit, that kind of stuff.
I'll be here.
I love it. Well, good stuff, guys. Thank you again for always listening. Subscribe, share, like, comment, do all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys being here. Until next time.